Welcome everybody to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. Most of you probably know that our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue by 2020 and create 10 million jobs. And of course, all this is only going to be successful if you are successful as entrepreneurs. Today, we are running a contest at this roundtable, which of late you've seen us do quite often with our wonderful partners. Today's partners are A&M Media from the UK and Elance, headquartered in Silicon Valley. And I will actually start out with letting Kim Roditi talk a little bit about A&M Media. Kim, would you like to unmute your line and introduce A&M Media?
Okay, so A&M Media is the consumer division of DMGT. Is everyone aware of who exactly A&M Media are before I carry on? And there's silence. Okay, so A&M Media is basically we've got Daily Mail, Mail on Sunday, we've got Metro newspaper, so the newspaper titles. And then we have, hello?
Yep, keep going.
Yeah, sorry. And then we have a number of pure play brands from the property, travel, and so on and so forth sector. As a group, what we're trying to do is not only generate ideas from the ground up, which we've got various kind of procedures in place at the moment, which we're rolling out across the company to generate ideas, revenue-generating ideas for the business. But we also feel it's extremely important that we listen to people outside of our company with sector, industry expertise, and that's why we're here connecting with you all today.
Fantastic. And we'll also invite Jetil to talk about Elance for a moment. Jetil runs Europe for Elance.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Elance is the world's leading online work platform. We connect businesses and talents all over the world. In practice, this means that a company comes to Elance to post a job, and then we have talent or contractors all over the world submitting proposals for these jobs. And this is a marketplace and a workplace that is about to really take off now. We have more than 1.5 million contractors on the site. We have more than 70,000 jobs posted on the platform every month, and so far we have generated about $550 million in earnings for our contractors all over the world. So Elance is a platform that is really making the labor market flat. So wherever you live, whatever you do, you have a good chance to get a job on a platform like Elance.
Super.
Thank you.
And Anthony, would you like to talk about the LSE Student Entrepreneurs Program?
Yeah, sure. So LSE Entrepreneurs are one of the biggest societies at the university, at the London School of Economics. We've got over 1,000 students, 1,000 members of our society. We've got three main strands. We have a weekly Entrepreneurs Tuesday meeting where we invite guest speakers in. Then we have a yearly Sparks conference, which is a 2-day conference where we had speakers including the CEO of Infosys, of Cobra Beer and of Cineworld and so on. And then the third strand is the European Student Startups Competition, which is a collaborative competition that we set up with other universities across Europe to bring together the best young businesses who are run by students and be able to put them all in a room to get funded. So we started off with over 150 applicants this year, and we took it down to our final 18 who all pitched in London to real angel and venture capitalists to try and get funding when they wouldn't have otherwise been able to have that opportunity to pitch. So today we have students from both the London School of Economics and the European Student Startups Competition pitching.
Super. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the first presenter. Please note that the roundtable is being recorded. You will be able to refer back to it and share it as you wish. And if you're live tweeting the show, you can use hashtag 1M1M to connect with others. Our Twitter handles are at 1M1M and at Sramana. There will be some live tweeting going on from those accounts as well. We will start with Red Eddie and Joseph Virgili. If you could please unmute your line and tell us what you're doing, that would be great.
Hi, can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so it's a pleasure being here and also hearing familiar voices from the European Student Startup Competition. So it's a great pleasure being here. So today I'm going to present to you Reta, that is a company that me and another colleague founded a few months ago. So next slide, please. So there's me, this is José Virgili, I'm the other co-founder, this is Eduardo. We are both engineers, and we are engineers because when we were young, we realized that the people who's really changing the world are engineers and scientists, the ones that are bringing the technology out that we can use in our everyday lives. And now that we are engineers, we want to make life easier for them. We want to make them more productive. So what is to be an engineer? So next slide, please. So people, well, engineers and scientists, what usually do is do computations. They compute things. They do simulations. They work with models. And for example, they do computational fluid dynamics when they test if an aircraft can fly or not. They do structural analysis, and they see if a structure can hold the loads, if a car under an impact behaves well and guarantees your safety, and also more other like abstract things as applied maths, for example, controlling the spread of a disease. And they do this working with computers. And they do this working with a set of software tools that is generally known as technical computing. But these tools have three fundamental problems. The first one is that they are expensive because they are IP-based. So people came out with an algorithm, very clever algorithm, they sell it for a price. And you have to buy it wherever you want to use it for the whole of your life or for a few months. So they're really expensive, you have to pay that price up front. Then the other problem they have is that people tend to do quite computing intensive tasks. So they need quite powerful computers. And these computers come as bulky and ugly desktop computers that nowadays nobody really wants to know. People are transitioning to mobile devices, so this is kind of a problem nowadays. And third is that all these software packages began in universities in the 70s and 80s when researchers tried to solve a problem, so they created a tool and they say, oh, that's great, let's sell it to other people. So those tools are very specialized for a very specific type of problem, so there are thousands of them. You have to browse and search one of them and then buy it, which is terribly expensive. So next slide, please. So our approach is called Red Eddy, and we want to do, or we are doing, a cloud-based platform for technical computing. So we are a platform as a service that sells technical computing. Next slide, please. And these are our three main points. First, we are cloud-based. That means that no desktop PC is required. People can use any device they want, tablets, smartphones, whatever is coming in the next few years, they could use it. Also, we are not based in IP that you buy and then you have it for the rest of your life. We run in a freemium model. So people subscribe and they pay monthly. So if you want to use it for a couple of months, that's fine. You only pay a couple of months. And then we bring innovation that was not possible in the 70s and 80s with the cloud collaboration tools, for example, that are very much appreciated. Also, our second point is that we do this in an open source fashion, because we believe that we don't have to protect the IP behind it, because people should be able to use what's in the algorithms. We think ourselves as a service that sells the service. So our business is the computing time on the cloud, is for people to pay the computing time. And also the third point that I think is one of the most important is that we want to bring all disciplines, all these software packages that are spread into one single place on the web. So people can look for them and it will be really easy to find them, and then they will buy it and we will get a commission out of it. So next slide, please. So to recap, we're going from desktop to mobile devices, from expensive upfront costs to cheaper monthly costs, and unifying all those different packages into one platform that is Red Teddy. Next slide, please.
Question, Joseph. So you are going against ANSYS and CATIA, yes?
Well, against, yes, kind of. Yes.
And those are I actually know a lot about those technologies. For one of my, experiences in my career, I actually was involved in the turnaround of a CAD company. These are very, very expensive products to build. How do you propose to build these products?
Okay, I think that comes into the next slide. So if we can move. Okay, then what we want to do is create a marketplace. So we only provide a platform where people can code these applications, and then people can then sell them through our marketplace. So we will create a technical computing ecosystem. So for example, at the beginning will be people like me. I'm doing a PhD and I do code for computing drag in spacecraft. And I have a few problems that could be interesting to share with other people. So I will code it in the platform and then share it with everybody so everybody could use it. And when we get a little bit more reputation, maybe, or probably, or hopefully, these big companies will say, okay, we can move to this platform, and say they will code their products into our platform and sell them into our platform. I think that answers a little bit your question.
Yes, my feedback to you is this is an extremely high exit barrier industry. The ANSYS and the CAD ecosystem in general is a very, very high exit barrier in ecosystem. So getting people off those technologies is very, very difficult. So I'm not convinced about the positioning, but let's, if you're done with your formal presentation, let's offer an opportunity to the judges to ask their questions.
Well, there's a couple of slides more if we have time.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Well, just very quickly that we want to get traction through academia. That's the world that we are in. So we're offering it free to students. We're running presentations through universities. For example, this 6th of July, we have a presentation to professors of a Spanish university that they were interested in it. And next slide, just to say that we are ready, up and running. We have a prototype, for example, here is an example that shows the trajectory of a canyon barrel. So this is on the web. You can go now at redteddy.com and you can try yourself.
Do you have
that's all what I wanted to say.
You have users?
Well, a few of them, but mainly we haven't advertised it yet. So because we published this like a few weeks ago, and we're still debugging it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start with the group, the innovation team at ANN Media that is in one room. Several of you, Charlie, Kim.
Yeah, sure. I guess the one that would help us is, I think we kind of understand the concept, but could you give us some examples of what you think the kind of sort of top-selling, I don't want to call them apps, but the top-selling programs within the sort of ecosystem would be, and what kind of people would be buying those?
All right. If you think about what people do, for example, in a direct competitive world, that would be, for example, MATLAB. I think the top-selling would be toolkits. For example, toolkits to do image processing, toolkits to do integration of differential equations, something like that will be the most at the beginning. And then when the platform is more mature and the people create more interesting things, then it will be the usual suspects as structural analysis and fluid dynamics. But I think we are quite far from that.
And who do you think it would be who'd be purchasing these? Do you think it's mainly sort of academia, or would that stretch outside there to kind of more practical corporate applications?
I think that the endpoint is to go to the corporates, but I understand that at the beginning, as she said, the entry barrier is quite important. So we want to build a reputation through academia, and now we're building it for the moment for the educational market, and then from that we will carry on. But yes, definitely we will go through corporate.
Okay, I think that was our question. Thank you.
All right. Until it's your turn to ask questions.
Yeah, and how do you plan to make money on this? Is it a similar model to App Store from Apple, or?
Yes, kind of. When people code this application for example, the one that you see in the screenshot, you will pay for the computing time. On top of that, if you want to use an application to help you build your code, for example, a toolkit that simplifies your life to compute whatever, then you pay on top of that by the minute on this extra application. So, and in this extra application, the developer makes money, and we make a commission like the App Store at 30%.
Okay. And are there any players doing something similar in the market today?
Not that we're really aware of. There are a few people that is doing it for the classroom. So there are a few that are trying to get it to their classrooms in the educational market, but no one that is getting it serious.
Okay, thank you.
So one just final question on that on the monetization issue is that are you going to give it to all students for free, or is students the primary market for this? That's a decision that you're going to have to make, because I have a feeling that this is going to be really difficult to compete with ANSYS and MATLAB and CATIA and all that in the commercial market. So if you want to position it as an engineering, academic tool and charge for it, I think that may be a better business model for what you're trying to do.
Okay, well, thanks for the comments, and I would say that our approach now is have this ready to the students to use it, but the ultimate thing is to make it a no-brainer for everyone. So, for example, if you are an engineer that is working for a company, you want to solve something, you know that going to RedEdit, you will have that tool available. And if you're a developer, we have all the monetization and all the billing infrastructure, so it's just one click away to publish your applications. And for the beginning, yes, it's more for education, but I think this market is more of reputation and being trusted for the big corporations. So we have to start from the bottom and grow up. And I think there's room, and I think that we can achieve that. So it's a different approach. ANSYS is a very professional and high-end market, and we're going to this bottom end that cannot afford that money that ANSYS has all demands for their products.
Okay, got it. Great. We're going to go to the next presenter. Thank you, Joseph.
All right, thanks. Thank you very much.
Play Enable is the next company. You ready?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everybody. This is Abhishek. Today I'm going to talk about Play Enable. We're basically a forum or a hub which connects players to different sports facilities and enables them to book sports. Next slide, please. Just a little bit about myself. I study at London Business School, and I'm scheduled to graduate in July, hopefully. I've been an entrepreneur before this, and I've had 7 years of experience in various different industries, mostly small and in leadership roles. Next slide, please. Today, I'd just like to talk about the customer segmentation a little bit. From the player side or the sports enthusiast side, this is kind of the typical way bookings are made today. People go and look for classes or tennis courts and so on and so forth on Google, or they learn it by word of mouth. And this is a really, really painful process, because if you can see the search results, it's over 1 million. And then when they finally list down the number of the right facilities, they have to call the facilities. They don't know what schedules are open and what slots are open beforehand. And when they actually call in, they have to give their credit card information, which is not secure. Finally, ratings and reviews are not available very much. I mean, for example, in bookings.com, hotels.com, you see all the ratings, you see all the price reviews and things like that. That information is not available beforehand, so the person cannot browse. Next slide, please.
Abhishek, before you go on, let's just clarify one thing. You're trying to address the segment of people who are looking to play somewhere, a tennis court or a squash court, and they're not members of specific clubs or gyms. Is that correct?
That's correct. Classes, tennis courts, anything like that, any sports facility. From the sports side, they have the opposite problem. Most of the smallest sports facilities, which we are targeting, the low-hanging fruit, if you might call them, have issues with marketing because they have a limited budget. The only ways they can do it is via online and offline medium, and their existing facility management software is really expensive. To give you an example, MindBody Online, which we'll speak about later, charges £50 to £60 per facility for 5 users, and they don't have a marketing interface. And also from the perspective of phone bookings, which they have to have a huge amount of staff, which has to cater to the bookings that they have. Next slide, please. So therefore, our solution is Playable. We're a forum or website which connects players to facilities. We give facilities a free booking software, which enables them to put up their schedules, and it ultimately connects to the website. These schedules are visible to the players, who can actually have a look at different facilities, check out their ratings, which are given by players themselves, and book accordingly. Facilities, on the other hand, have to pay a booking commission on every booking that is made. They don't pay anything else. Next slide, please. Yeah, just a little bit about the market. The market is clearly there as far as we've spoken to a lot of people. It wasn't very easy to get the numbers, but this is something about the UK. The gym industry is huge, and a lot of the people live in urban areas, and they're looking for gyms and fitness clubs all the time, whether at their workplace, at home. And the pay-as-you gym models are actually on the rise. This is from Active England and Sports England research. Most of the people are actually moving to ad hoc participation. Next slide, please. So therefore, in terms of the customer acquisition strategies, this is what we've outlined. We are actually scheduled to launch in a couple of days. It's been delayed. From the facility side, we've had the offline and the online mechanisms. So from the online mechanism, we're trying to use Google AdWords, emails, and Facebook messages to contact the facility owners. From the offline perspective, we've been using flyer postings. We've been meeting the facility owners, and from referrals from other coaches. We've also been calling them up and telling them about our proposition. And in fact, I've got meetings with 5 of them lined up in London, and we've already acquired 12 facilities in San Francisco. From the player side, we're going to use a lot more online in the beginning. We're going to test it out, as well as using offline mechanisms such as the London Business School clubs and the Greater Alumni Community. We realized that hotels and offices, corporate offices, are very, very good targets from the customer side, from the visitor side, because many of them are looking for ad hoc and short-term commitments as far as the gyms and facilities are concerned. And the way we want to entice them is through referral schemes, loyalty programs, and so on. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, in terms of the competitors, we've segmented them in different ways. The first one is MindBody Online, which is basically a booking software which enables any website to become bookable, but they don't aggregate all the sports facilities. And also, they only operate in the gym segment. They don't operate in the other segments. Bluefields and Foobless, they're primarily a customer-focused website where you can find teams, make teams, and go and find a place to play. Workout Spots is our closest competitor. They're in the US right now, and they've actually launched on the 24th of March. Their proposition is quite similar to ours, but they don't work on the sports facility side. They just work with gyms and classes. Pay-as-you gym is something we have in the UK. They sell classes in gyms, but they don't have a facility management software, which they don't tie up with the facilities. They sell voucher codes, and they sell weekly passes. Groupon and Living Social is already very, very well known. Groupon offers deals from facilities, but they really, really undercut the facilities a lot. Next slide, please. So far, as I mentioned, in terms of customer validation, we've interviewed a lot of people from corporate offices, from hotels who want to tie up with us, and we've realized that there's a big market for people with who want to play ad hoc sports. In terms of facilities, we've been doing it directly from our interviews and things like that. We've realized that there's clearly a market for our facility management software, as well as the fact that there are clear utilization issues at the facility end. Next slide, please. So I have these questions for you. So if maybe we can address this.
Why don't I first let the judges ask their questions, and then we'll come back to your questions. Why don't we start with Jetil this time?
Yes, so thank you for the presentation. I was wondering, are you trying to become what OpenTable are for restaurants?
That's exactly correct.
Yeah. And the competitors that you listed on one of the previous slides, are there anyone that are very much similar to OpenTable?
Yeah, exactly. Workout Spots is very close to OpenTable, but if you look at the fifth last, the one Workout Spots, yeah. So they've launched on the 24th of March, and so they do something like OpenTable, but they've not yet come up with the point system, and they're only working with gyms at the moment. So okay. we also want to work with sports facilities who we are in talks with, like tennis courts and things like that. They don't do that yet.
Yeah. So then my question to you, instead of going head to head with them in the US, why don't you focus on the UK market plus some other key European markets instead?
You're right, and we're doing that in UK, but we also find that Workout Spots, for example, isn't solving all the issues with some of the clients that they've spoken to, some of the facilities that they've spoken to, and it's not like they're an established competitor yet. So because I came up with the idea.
Just telling you is right, is that you will not be able to boil the ocean. It's very difficult to get into all these different markets because you're going to have to get gyms to work with and enough customers in that particular geography where your gym supplier base is. I don't think you can manage all these different markets all at once. You're going to have to pick and choose, and the natural place for you to penetrate is in the UK.
Yes, I kind of forgot to mention a very critical point. Actually, my friend and partner is in the US. He's promoting that Play Enable in the US in San Francisco. He's based in San Francisco.
Yeah,
so
but
he's been doing it.
That's not reason to do two different markets of that size.
Okay, I see.
Just on that market front, I think it's interesting what the other guys have said, but I think what's important is if you think about what your addressable market is here, then it's for people who are using a variety of different leisure facilities. So it's not someone who's going to the same gym, to the same Fitness First or whatever it might be every week. So it's someone who's using multiple different sources. So whilst the UK may be interesting, what do you think the sort of addressable market size would be in the UK of people who are using multiple leisure facilities, and then the amount of money they're spending on that and the amount you could then capture? Because I think Top Table or OpenTable is an interesting example. The revenue they can generate is significant. It's not crazy numbers because actually they're only taking quite a small amount of what's actually quite a big transaction. Whereas I think here you're talking about a relatively small number of people who are actually using these different tennis courts at different times, and then take a small amount of what's actually a small transaction.
So, so retention, I understand in this market is very, very much of a problem because another competitor, another company which launched earlier.
I think you just got a question. I think that was Charlie's voice about your total available market, and I think he's pointing out a very important point. You don't know whether this business, you haven't given us enough analysis or data to gauge whether this business is fundable at all, because the total available market analysis is a crucial piece of that, fundability calibration. I think Charlie just pointed out to you.
What I wanted to mention.
UK. Hold on.
I think in the UK that's certainly a challenge.
What I wanted to mention is that we understand that what happens is when we send a customer to a gym, he often gets acquired by the gym. So our agreements with the gyms are that when we send a customer to you, the weekly pass and the monthly pass associated with that customer also comes and gets sold through us. So that's the way we're approaching this. I understand there are quite a few challenges, but that kind of increases the size of the market slightly higher.
Yeah, but there's a monetization model attached to it, which is a lead generation monetization model, is what you're saying.
Right. Yes, there are quite a few challenges here, but what we're trying to do is maybe go out in the market and try and sell gym passes and stuff, because that has clearly been a successful model with pay-as-you-gym. We're also selling not just ad hoc, single-time things, but also gym passes and so on and so forth. In that way, we're trying to address the market. But
All right, so I think we're going to have to move on. Time is up here, but your question about keeping it lean and so forth, you have to choose a market and really position this to whatever one market, not multiple markets. That's one of the ways you can do it in a lean startup mode.
Right.
All right, Abhishek, thank you for your presentation. You've got what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Patrick, you're up next. Use Locus. Please unmute your line.
What? Where the participants unmute?
Are you there, Patrick?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, very good. So good afternoon. My name is Patrick Daniel, and with me here is my partner Abra, and we are representing Locus today, which is a location-based social network. First, it's a pleasure being here today. Thank you, Maureen, for hosting us, and thank you, Sramana and the judges, for creating this challenge and giving us this opportunity. So first, my partner Abra will talk about the problem, what kind of problem we're trying to solve. Then I want to briefly talk about what what Locus actually is and where our competitive edge is. And then at the end, we are open for any remaining questions.
Hi, my name is Abrar. The idea for Locus really began when Patrick and I were, talking about how boring the internet really is now. When we first started to use the internet, there were so many exciting things going on. You could meet so many people through chat. And, even when Facebook was newer, you had the ability to, really meet new people that you didn't know before. But now we feel like the internet has gotten very sort of mundane, where you're visiting at most about 5 to 6 sites. And what we really wanted to do was put the fun back in the internet. And we wanted to go back to the roots of the internet, which was being able to meet people, right, while still staying in your comfort zone. And the best way we thought about that was location-based social networking.
Okay, so let me just quickly tell you what this is so you have an idea. So as you know, social networks, they only promote virtual interaction. And all of us, we waste hours in front of a computer interacting with friends. And there's actually been studies done that this is not really healthy. So those studies have shown that, there's a relationship between this behavior and anxiety and depression. So what we want to build is a tool that promotes real-life interaction and that allows you to connect with anyone you share the same location with. So it's called Locus because it comes from Latin and it means location. It's a location-based web app or an iPhone app, and that allows us to chat with people that are within, let's say, 100 feet from you without necessarily knowing them in person. So think of it as a social icebreaker with the ultimate goal of promoting real-life interaction.
So can you explain how, let's
Yes.
say we walk into a restaurant and we are using your application, how would it work? It's you're turning your application on and it's identifying who is within 100 feet, and then you start chatting.
Yeah, so we looked at competitors, and basically there's like a catch-22 problem with many.
The way it would work is that we want students to walk in. We want anyone actually to walk in, like let's say to a restaurant, and let's say it's the first time you've been to that restaurant. You can log into your app, and let's say other people who have the same app in the restaurant, you can pose the question, hey, what do you guys recommend here if someone's been here? So it's very practical uses to the application.
Yes. Does that answer the question?
It does, but it doesn't convince me.
Okay. Well. What aspect is not convincing?
If in that scenario, how I would like to use the application is not to, not to ask someone for menu recommendations. Maybe that's an icebreaker, yes. But what I think is what really missing in this social, hybrid social experience that's physical and virtual is to find people with whom you have some compatibility to meet.
So that's why. Yeah.
Would like to hold on. I'd like to really short circuit and make it efficient. Whom I should talk to in the club? Maybe there are 3 or 4 people that are compatible with me. I would like to find those people within that experience.
Well, that's why we wanted to start with a niche market where we only start at universities and libraries. So basically. Because maybe that's what you were alluding to. The problem is with location-based social networks is that you're not really comfortable meeting new people, but at a university it's maybe different. So even though the people I don't know, because we go to the same university, I'd be more comfortable meeting those people in the first place.
And I think to answer the meat, of the question, just if you can give me a second, if you can answer the meat of the question, what we want to integrate is a profile system where maybe you can list interests and likes and so forth, maybe log in via Facebook and draw on the likes and interests you have. And if you could log in and you're within 100 feet and you have some sort of matching interest, you could be recommended.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a matchmaking. It's kind of like a location-enabled matchmaking application is, I think, what I'm sensing here.
Exactly. So, so the goal is eventually to expand, like maybe to other public places like airports. And can we go to the next slide, actually? Sure. Yeah. So, like the product design is pretty simple. So, initially, you would have a web app or just like an app, and you can just log in. Yeah. Next slide. And then, so we realized basically we have multiple competitors, but the problem usually with a location-based social network is that there's like a catch-22. So there's not many people can only use it until like there's a lot of users. But if there's not a lot of users, then there's no incentive for people to use it. And this is why we want to start universities, because then we can control the market, and then we can slowly expand it, and then we have more people. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Next slide. Yeah, so this is what I talked about in the beginning. Are there any remaining questions?
Yes. Kim, why don't you guys go first this time?
Is this not quite similar to Highlight? You heard of Highlight?
Can you quickly tell us what Highlight is?
So what happens is you effectively log in across all of your social networks, and then what it does is it like pings up a notification if anyone within your area has either the same interests. You can choose what settings you do, either the same interests or has some kind of compatibility. And then anywhere you go, you kind of get pinged and says, oh, it's really interesting, this person in this conference also supports the same football club as you. Maybe you should talk to them, or it says this person's got the same interests on LinkedIn, or they're looking for the same thing as you. So it does it across kind of different social networks, and actually then sort of tries to encourage you to go and find that person and start messaging them. So, I mean, that was quite a big thing at South by Southwest this year. They had both that and the kind of quite social level, and then there was another one which I cannot remember the name of, which did it very much from a professional standpoint, whereby if you were at an occasion you had someone who from a kind of career work type sort of, approach was quite similar to you, then it gave you, this person's worth talking to you because they work for a competitor or they work in the same industry or something, which feels quite similar. I don't know if that's something you've come across or not.
Thank you for the question. It is quite similar, because we do want people to meet based on a shared interest, and we do want, and we are a matchmaker in that sense. But we also want to stay open to the idea of spontaneous relationships where you could just chat with people. Let's say you're at the airport and maybe you don't have to have any shared interests, but let's say you enter a chat where you say, hey, does anyone want to grab coffee? I'm at this bar. So we also want to stay open to the spontaneous aspect of getting to know people. Something that was really unique to the Web 1.0.
Yeah, I'm very uncomfortable with that, because you're doing a physical experience on top of a virtual experience. It's kind of, you need to think through what people are comfortable with in terms of just being in a random, without any context, kind of random getting a coffee. You commit to getting a coffee with someone with whom you have nothing in common. It's not a very pleasant coffee.
No, but I think you do end up in there. I think you're right. It becomes quite.
It's more like a mix. It's more like a hybrid. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it becomes like a kind of matchmaking, dating type piece quite quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a matchmaking. I mean, it could be a matchmaking for friendships. It doesn't have to be matchmaking for romance or matchmaking for business networking. There are many directions you could take this. For instance, these days, any flight coming into San Francisco is a big networking, venue. We met a bunch of people on our way to London last time who were all in the high-tech business, and we started chatting about about what we were doing in London with ANN Media and blah, blah, blah. So yes, I mean, those kinds of things are, you know, with context, with proper matchmaking algorithms could be very interesting, but absolutely randomly committing to a coffee without knowing nothing about the context, I don't think that flies.
Yeah,
well, yeah. How about you? You haven't said anything yet.
Actually, I don't have any questions. I'm just a little bit skeptical to why people should be interested in kind of socializing through a network or like a kind of location-based social network, while the people I would like to meet is sitting kind of 10 meters next to them. So little skeptical here, but no questions really. Okay.
All right. So I think we're going to move to the next presenter. Thank you, Patrick and Abrar. You have a bunch of questions, but we'll take that later, I think.
So, can I just say maybe one last thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, okay, so basically, we realized all these problems, but we're at an early stage, and we're following kind of the model of the airtime. So I understand that it might be uncomfortable, and that's why we wanted to start at universities where, you know, people are more likely to meet other people, and then as we go on, you can match that with interest and other things. And I think a lot of people are open to meet other people. They're just maybe, you know, shy in real life. So we use this tool as a social icebreaker, because I think a lot of people, they would love to meet other people, and even if it's random people. I mean, I love meeting people somewhere that I don't know of, and, you know, finding out what they are about. And so I think that could help us.
Yeah. You know, so I mean, if you apply that to museums, it actually works beautifully. Everybody is interested. If you're at a museum, everybody is interested in a certain, you know, kind of art. The likelihood of your meeting interesting people randomly is very high.
Well, that's also true at universities, as you said. I think that's a really interesting. I mean, it's easy for us to, you know, kind of throw out some potential challenges, but I think it's worth looking at something like Highlight, because I do think, you know, somewhere in the UK that hasn't really gone anywhere yet. I think something like universities is a perfect ground to try and meet new people. And I think, you know, even if you do include some interest, it's maybe an even better icebreaker and would work really well. I mean, I can imagine being at university sitting in a library and it says someone also supports your football team. If you're early to, you know, it's your first few weeks at university, you probably really welcome that. And it's a great way to start a conversation.
Well, imagine you're at the Olympics and you don't know anything.
And sports stadiums, as long as you have a constraint somewhere. Airport is not a constrained environment. Airport is a random environment. Museum is a constrained environment where the context of the meeting is already set. A sports stadium is a constrained environment where the context of the, you know, of the interest is already set.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, probably, and it was just an example, but like another example could be the Olympics, where people, like, they come into the city, they don't know anything what's going on, and they're very open to meet new people. So if they have an app like this to help them meet other people based on locations, that could be helpful. Okay, thank you for your time.
Yep, you're welcome. Cloud Marks, Alexis, who's going to do the Slav? Are you going to do the?
Yeah. So can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, Alex couldn't come to the presentation today. He is at Le Web, which is another big networking for tech entrepreneurs today. But yeah, I will present Cloud Marks. As soon as you're ready, I can start.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, yeah. Every day on the web, you'll find amazing content, and sometimes there's just too much information. There are too many interesting blog posts, too many funny videos, too many important news articles. Sometimes you retweet them, sometimes you share them on Facebook, but, you know, eventually you lose them. You lose the links, and you forget about the content. And our team says don't let them go, because with CloudMarks you can now organize all your links and information, retrieve them, share them easily. We've built a platform, an MVP, that allows users to save not just the URL addresses, but also the specific passages of the website. So, for example, quotes, statistics, and beautiful metaphors in a seamless and systematic way. And thereby we're putting another layer on the web and allow users to break down websites into single informational pieces that can be cloud-marked, that is bookmarked independently. Thus, you can now save not just you can save the most important things and can get rid of the trash. Yeah, next slide. With CloudMarks, you can start importing all your existing bookmarks with Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, and so on. and so on, as well as the links you've shared on your social networks, Facebook, as well as tweeted on Twitter, and convert them all into cloud marks, which you can extract from any device because, well, they're in the cloud, right? Furthermore, you can highlight any interesting information inside the website, as I said, and treat them as a cloud mark, which is automatically systemized with tags and can be manually edited as well. We've also added a social element to it. You can now explore, pick, and follow things you're interested in to enrich your own cloud mark library and cultivate your interests. And, well, most importantly, never lose your valuable information. Next slide. You can see it's very easy to sign up and combine all your accounts in one place via the import functions. And thanks to our own algorithm, the information is automatically organized in a smart way in Skyboard, as you can see in the screenshot. So this is an example of a strategy revision cloud mark library, actually my own one. It is, well, you see it's beautiful, it's strictly organized, it's easy to use, and I've decided to use 4 broad categories of Skyboards, namely for academia, job applications, just for fun and interesting things. Well, and this could be your cloud mark library soon as well. Next slide. Our customer acquisition strategy is based on customer referrals, preset Skyboards on hit topics and celebrities, for example, sports events and so on, as well as extensive marketing. We also added several viral components there, such as sharing of internet memes like cloud marks, personalization tactics, and social elements of sharing Skyboards with your Facebook friends, for example. Next slide. The revenue model is based on the freemium model, similar to Dropbox, treating Skyboards like generally sellable space. But we will also have sponsored cloud marks inserted in the Skyboards of our members, similar to Google Ads. In so far as we will know exactly what the interests of our members are, based on the information they're saving, and the missing information in the Skyboard, which they might be interested in. Next slide.
Can I stop you there and give you some feedback?
Yeah, sure.
So I think your business model assumption is not correct. The best business model for this, there's a whole class of applications that came about that were basically applications that sold to media companies and that helped them get more out of their content, basically. And so essentially, if you're a widget sitting on my New York Times page or my Daily Mail page, Mail Online page, whatever number of articles that I'm seeing, I would see additional recommendations to that. And these are, basically platforms that were being sold to the media companies, and the media companies were using that to increase the, increase the page views.
Yeah, exactly. We're actually thinking about this. On the next slide, you'll see that our third revenue stream comes from analytics services we're going to sell to companies such as media companies. Because in a way, you're right. Yes, we can tell the companies a much more precise picture of what the people are actually interested in. So it's not just impressions. Now you can see.
In general, I think if you look in that area, that's a better business model. I don't think freemium would work. I don't think consumers are going to pay for this. Consumers on the internet do not like to pay. So if you follow my writings, you know that I keep saying, it's, the internet, today's internet is a colossal free rider problem. Yeah. Nobody wants to pay for anything. So in that landscape, the likelihood of somebody wanting to pay for this application is very, very low. So you've got to find a better, more intelligent monetization model. So that was my comment on your financial model.
Yeah, yeah. In the revenues breakdown, you can see that the third revenue stream comes, the second one comes from analytics, which is the thing you've mentioned. It will be big in the beginning, but then it will decrease because we hope that we'll convince people to jump on the premium model. But of course, we can experiment for that.
The only model, actually, I think revenue model-wise that would work is an analytics that is directed towards the media companies to help them fine-tune their, content merchandising effectively. But I will let the experts on the media side to give you more feedback. So the ANN media team maybe wants to go first with your questions and comments.
Yeah, please. I'm open for questions.
Anthony has a question.
Yeah, I was wondering if you thought about the kind of model where the people to really benefit from this will be like the companies whose websites are like being bookmarked. So, is there any way that you've thought of monetizing it from that side of like if they get bookmarked, then they maybe pay a small amount, or just some sort of model based on that rather than the user payment model?
Yeah, of course, we consider this as well. We can always have something like sponsored bookmarks in the bookmark libraries of the users. So if I have already 5 TechCrunch articles that I've bookmarked, and there's a new one coming out, and then it's automatically suggested, or there's a new Windows, the new Microsoft Surface is coming out, and well, it's automatically suggested as a bookmark, but only the suggested bookmarks to keep privacy concerns in the legal space. But yeah, we can definitely talk about further monetization tactics. It's interesting that we did some primary extensive consumer research, and people indicated that they would be willing to pay if they would get this instant benefit of having all the information and all the bookmarks from all the different browsers stored in one place and organized automatically, seamlessly. So on the next 2 slides, I summarized some consumer research we did, some consumer needs. So we asked them, what could we improve on the current boring bookmarking situation? And this is what they said. It's actually exactly what we would do. This is what Cloudmarks is all about. And on the next slide, we asked them some questions. For example, what annoys them currently about bookmarking, how often they share links on Facebook or on other services. And we tested our assumptions, and I think there's definitely scope for further monetization with our vision to create a place across devices to collect and organize and share everything if you like, and bring simplicity into the complex web, and people would be willing to pay for it.
Okay. How about Jetil? Do you have a question or comment?
So I see you mentioned Pinterest here. Is also Delicious something which is very close to Cloudmarks?
Yeah, the Delicious is something that is similar in terms of the same field and the target of having not just pictures on the web that we want to organize, but indeed bookmarks. But we are different in 2 significant ways. Firstly, our service is seamless, and you can access it on all devices, all browsers, and it's instant. So once you log in, it combines all your bookmarks from all different devices into one place. Delicious is not doing this. It gives you just a blank sheet, and you have to start from scratch, and you have to import all your bookmarks manually, which is quite annoying, and people don't really like doing this. And the second big difference, and what sets us apart from Delicious, is that in Delicious you have to enter keywords and tags to each single bookmark manually. And again, this is something that people don't really like doing. They just want to bookmark it, and they want to have all the tags being created automatically. This is what Cloudmarks is doing, and Delicious unfortunately failed on this. And this is the reason why after a few years the whole hype around Delicious disappeared. But we hope that we could renew this hype and make it a sustainable one.
All right.
Thank
I think
you.
we've got what you're doing. Let's move on to the next presenter. Thank you. Lav, is that what you go by?
Thanks for the session.
Leah is next. Kwan Yan Tan.
Yep. Can you hear us?
Go ahead. Your turn.
Hello and namaste. My name is Chinab, and together with Jan and Errol, we're the founders of Jublia. Jublia is a tech startup that creates tools to enhance interaction in the physical world. Our pilot project that we planned and executed in Stockholm 2012 is called Match and Hack, an event that matches startups and tech talents together, as well as gives them an opportunity to temporarily work together in a hackathon. The tool we built for Match and Hack transforms the recruitment process for startups looking for tech talents through our interaction first, CV later model. So let me tell you more about it. My co-founders and I are currently interning at 3 different startups. The startups that we're working at, like all other startups, have the constant need to do one thing: recruit the right tech talent effectively. Not even though all startups need to do this, the reality is that they're really not that good at it. They need to compete with each other and with large companies. Moreover, they have to deal with cultural fitting. Next, please. Tech talent face problems of their own. Namely, they want to differentiate themselves from peers and prove themselves to potential employers. The problem is most tech talents have the same CVs and resumes as every other programmer. Through attending numerous startup-related events and doing on-the-ground market research, we have found that most tech talents are desperate to find a way to tell startups that they're simply different. Next. Now this is where we come in. We connect reciprocal startups and job seekers by developing a series of job matching technologies, an online platform and a mobile application. These tools are inserted into events. Our interaction first, CV later model enables startups to personally learn firsthand about how they can fit potential job seekers into their team. It also gives job seekers the opportunity to tell startups of their passions and interests in working with them. Next. In this case, tech talents will be able to use Jublia to find and meet a startup that they're interested in, uninterruptedly, face-to-face, and also to give the startup first-hand information of what they're capable with and the skills that they possess. On the other hand, the startup would be able to have a personal first impression of the tech talents they meet, their skills, and how they would fit into the team. The end result could be a happy startup with a great new hire and a happy job seeker with a sweet new job. Next. The tools that we have developed are inserted into 3 stages of the Match and Hack event. In the pre-event as an online platform, during the event as a mobile application, and post-event as a feedback system. The pre-event online platform is extremely instrumental in curating which startups and tech talents will be entitled to participate in Match and Hack. Through an algorithmic code, it works on a ranking system fueled by mutual choice. Next slide. Our pilot Match and Hack event not only provided customer validation, but was also the biggest marketing initiative for Jublia. The more successful Match and Hack, the more successfully marketed Jublia would be. Hence, we created our own gimmicky marketing posters to be used both offline and online. We also sought developer groups and schools to extend the invite to as many tech talents and startups as possible. We were even featured by the entrepreneurial magazine in Sweden, up there. Next slide. While the concept that Jublia has is fairly new, the close competitors definitely have the financial crowd to drive us out of the market. Actually, a venture capitalist once told us that once we find traction in the market, we have to scale exponentially. There is Social Walk, which provides a similar technology for B2B trade shows to matchmake companies. On the recruitment side, there is Highlight, which does speed dating for jobs, but it is only online based. And on the other hand, there's White Truffle, which focuses on the niche of engineers by matching them to companies via mutual choice. Next, please. Our first event in Stockholm saw a registration of 40 startups and approximately 130 tech talents. The event itself had an 85% turn up, considering it was right smack. The feedback that we have gathered from Match and Hack Stockholm has shown us that we are generally heading in the right direction. We are pleased to let you know that our second event, Match and Hack London, will be taking place on the 21st of July in London's Google campus. This is in accordance to our scaling process, where a third event would take place in Singapore. Next, please. Most importantly, this is the team that is making it all happen, a serial entrepreneur, marketeer, and tech developer for co-founders. We know we got the skills and the work ethics to make things happen, and we pride ourselves on our ability to move quickly. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Judges? Uh-oh. Maureen, why are we generating an echo? Somebody is generating an echo. We need to, okay, that went away. ANN Media, Kim. Kim, do you guys want to go first this time? What's happening?
Hi there. Sorry, we're just discussing it amongst ourselves. Do you actually see this as a standalone product or possibly a bolt-on to an existing platform or business that's in the job space?
Actually, currently we are using it for our own event, which is called Match and Hack, but eventually we want to use it for any other event which involves matchmaking. So this is seen as an integrated system into other events as well. Does that answer the question?
Yes, brilliant, thank you. In terms of monetizing, revenue driving, what's your model there?
Okay,
sorry,
for now, sorry?
The question is about revenue model and monetization.
I'm Yen, and I'll answer your question. So firstly, we earn through the ticket price. That's our direct monetization policy, and also by trying to franchise out the whole system, the integrated system that Chinab was talking about, and also selling the whole tools that we have developed to be inserted into other events that need to match two parties. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yatil, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I really got this, but in my mind, this seems like a concept that is very easy to copy. What are your comments on that?
I don't think it's, personally, I don't think it's very easy to copy, because it firstly requires a bit of effort to actually host an event, and also we have our own algorithm that do the matching, and also that the platform itself, to build the platform, will require some time. Yeah.
And I was just thinking, because if you have an online kind of job platform or any other player in the market that already have the technology to match, then for them it's just to kind of plug the event on. So just a thought from my side.
Oh, we are not a job portal. Please don't be mistaken. But
no, I know. I'm just saying that they have already some technology in place, so could be for them just to add the event part onto it.
So Kwan, I actually, my observation on that topic is that Chetil is right in that they could add. It's not very difficult technology-wise, but I don't see the job portals becoming event companies. I think that's what you're proposing, kind of like a technology-enabled event services company, and that's interesting. It's not hugely scalable, but it's interesting.
Yeah, that's what we are trying to do here, to develop technologies that enhance physical interaction in the world. But our first product is specifically zoom in at the recruitment industry, because we find that startups have problems finding developers. And actually, through Match and Hack, many startups share this concern with us. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think we got what we're doing. Last presenter is Anita Lamb, Attitude Speak. Maureen, can you do something about the echo? Somebody's line is generating an echo. Everybody except Anita, if you could please go on mute, that would be great. That would be a very good way to cut off echo. All right, Anita.
Hello, everyone. How are you? My name is Anita Lamb, and I was asking in the chat earlier on how many people do you know that's over 5'9". If you don't, at least you know one. I'm 5'10", and I actually experienced a problem of shopping for clothing, and the problem was that I wasn't able to walk into a physical location to purchase clothing that was stylish and that fit my body type. Next slide, please. So we've actually launched our first product line, and what we've learned is that we need to be more of a general lifestyle brand. When we first initially launched the product, I offered jackets and trousers and skirts, and we sent that out to over 50 buyers within the U.S. market, and we got really good feedback on it. But basically our styles were very classic and included woven fabric in the bridge price point, and we distribute it online. And at the bottom, you can see one of the quotes by one of the Zappos.com buyer, really validating our point of there is an opportunity, a huge opportunity in the market today to be able to provide for this particular category, the tall category, online and also in the store. Currently in the store, you have petite and plus size, but you don't actually have a physical location for tall women. So we've decided to actually expand and go to a lifestyle brand and actually have a full collection that includes 5 different categories: jackets, trousers, skirts, blouses, and dresses. So all of our designs will be more fashion forward, includes a lot of different colors, fabrics, and we're still going to be in the bridge price point. But our go-to-market strategy is that we're going to offer trunk shows where we have people host events at their homes or either in boutiques. So it gives you ability to try on and actually see our styles. Next slide, please. Our value proposition. To the tall woman, right now there's not a collection specifically for tall women. So within our collection, we'll be able to offer tall women an already put together look and style that they can feel confident in. And then they'll be able to have choices on what to choose from, not just strictly a limited selection based on what's offered in the market today. For our online retailers that currently offer a petite size category and also a plus size category, we'll be able to offer them the ability to build a tall category, because one of the feedbacks from the buyers was that we love your idea, we love your products, but we need to be able to offer more than just a couple of products for this particular category. And it provides them an opportunity to capture a growing niche market that's already shopping online, because right now women know that they can't just walk into a store to shop. They have to go online, so they're constantly shopping online already. For brick and mortar retailers that do not currently offer a special size in the tall category, this would be able to allow them to attract more foot traffic within their store. For instance, Nordstrom in the U.S., they are known for their shoe category for tall women because they offer more of a larger selection in the larger sizes for the shoes. And so tall women know that they can go to Nordstrom's and find a really nice stylish shoe, but then they can't shop there for clothes. So if they offer something more in-store, they'll be able to merchandise a style and look for tall women, and then also cross-sell with other products and accessories in different categories. Next slide, please. This is our customer profile. Who's our customer? She is a modern woman. She's going places. She's doing things. She's educated. She's style conscious. She attends career-focused conferences. She's networking. And she also believes in giving back to her community. And on the right side, you can see kind of the look and feel of our brand. What we want is more feminine styles. We want more color. And this is one of the patterns that we have for our collection that's very unique to us. So you ask about, intellectual property. That's one of our intellectual property is the unique prints that only can be found in our collection. Next page, please. Who's the competition? Long Tall Sally, I'm sure somebody on the call has heard of Long Tall Sally. It's a UK-based company. They've been in business for a very long time, and they actually have physical locations within Europe. But recently, within the past year and a half, they moved into the U.S. market, and they distribute their products online, and they're starting to do pop-up stores within certain segments in the United States. And one of the companies that they purchased was Tall Girl Shop. Tall Girl Shop had been in business for a very, very long time, and the owner decided that she wanted to sell the company, and Long Tall Sally purchased the company, and they actually had physical locations within the United States. So they're doing pop-up stores within those previous locations. Long Elegant Legs, they're the authority on fit, and they've been online and via catalogs for a long time, and they've been in business for about 20 years. And Height Goddess is a fairly new company. They're based out of Dallas, and they also distribute their products online. But none of these competitors really are focused on style and quality within the bridge price point. Their price point right now was in the better price point. They offer polyester fabrics. They don't offer any of the more premium fabrics like silk and other stylings that we offer our products. And on the right side, you can see this is one of our new design collections that's coming up for our spring, summer of next year. But it gives you a look and feel on what our brand is about, and we really want to have a certain signature look. Next slide, please.
So let me interrupt you for a second, and for those of you who are listening and this terminology of better bridge, all this sounds a little bit unfamiliar. Let me very quickly summarize. In the fashion industry, in the women's fashion industry, it's like a pyramid, and the more it goes from, at the bottom it's the less expensive price points but larger markets, and becomes smaller and smaller markets at more expensive price points. And the very top, very tip of that pyramid is couture. Below that is designer. Below designer is the bridge price point, which is where Anita is saying she's going to position her product. And then below bridge is better, and below better is mass. That's the pyramid of the women's fashion industry.
Thank you so much. Very well done.
I was in that industry for a little bit. Go ahead.
Altitude Physique today. Right now we have one channel that's through Tall Couture, and we also have 7 different styles. So our main promise to our customers is that we will create innovative styles. And right now we're at the point where we're ready to grow, we're ready to expand our styles and also our distribution channels. Next slide, please. How are we going to do that? Getting the word out about Altitude Physique, having these home shows, letting people meet and feel the brand and know what we're all about, what we're trying to do. It's really about empowering women. It's about when you wear things that feel good, you feel like doing more, you feel more productive. And we also plan to exhibit at the Women's Basketball Coaches Association. This is the one event where the most tall people are located at one time, and it's centered around the NCAA Women's Final Four. So that event happens in April, at the end of April, which is perfect timing for our spring summer collection that's coming out soon.
Are you currently selling on your website?
We will be also selling on the website, yes.
So everything I hear is in future tense. Is this a current business or is it a business plan?
No, this is a current business. This is more strategy. So we actually haven't implemented the trunk shows. We're planning on having them in September.
But there is a tall women's clothing line that is selling on your website at the moment, or?
Yes, on Tall Couture, yes.
And what is the price for? What is the revenue volume of that right now? How much is that validating your concept?
It's very small. What we've learned is that website doesn't have a large audience of people, so that's why we're going after bigger channels that have a large audience of people.
Oh, so this is somebody else's website. It's not your website. You're selling wholesale to another retailer, online retailer.
That's correct. Yes.
Got it. All right. Okay.
And like I said, we contacted, especially Nordstrom's. We're in discussions right now with them on piloting our product because we feel that it'll give us much more validation and much more exposure with them actually just testing the product, because a large portion of our market already shops there. So it'll be an easy sort of sale to let people know that's already shopping there. The other thing is going into trade shows. All of our buyers, they shop at trade shows, and this is where actually the sales happens when they write purchase orders at trade shows. So our plan is to actually exhibit in the fall, for the fall, winter. That happens in February. Next slide, please. So our biggest challenge right at this moment is getting our product development done for our new collection. This is just a sample of the different products that we want to offer. So that's our biggest challenge, trying to get the product development done for the collection, which includes 5 different categories. And
that is a financial
questions.
challenge, is it?
Repeat that for me, please.
Is that a financial challenge?
Yes. Okay. So we're looking for angel investors or assistance in that part of it, because the challenge is that, and as you know, Sramana, when you're a designer, you have to be ready for the next collection. So in order to be ready for the fall collection, you have to be really designing starting in September, October to be ready for the buying season, which starts in March of April of next year for the fall. So we have to be
Anita,
fully funded.
my take on all this is going to be that you should cut your entire strategy of selling to retailers. I don't think that is a viable strategy. I think you're going to have to do this as an e-commerce venture on your own schedule and on your own budget, and start having a site of your own where you can sell your products and don't be under pressure to sell everything or bring a whole collection and all this. I mean, this is just not viable. I just don't think it's viable. The way you have it set up right now is not viable as a business. But I will let hold on, let's let the other judges ask or comment. Why don't we start with Jetil this time?
I don't have any questions, actually.
Have any questions, okay. Kim, how about you guys?
I mean, I think it's a fantastic niche, and actually, I mean, in terms of it being a niche, I think you've spotted the gap. I think that's fantastic. We have Tall and Mighty here in the in the UK. I don't know whether it's successful or not, but you know, they are a retail chain, which we've got one down the road from us here in Knightsbridge. I just think that I don't know whether you'd be more. This is actually just me speaking here. Charlie's gone out, had to go out of the room for a minute, but I'm just thinking whether it's more of a luxury, high-end kind of offering where the customer comes to you, gives you their measurements, and you know, you can kind of customize it per customer, or else this is a massive operation. I don't know, Sramana, what's your thoughts?
You know, I think the custom idea is good if it's operationally complex, but I think what you were saying earlier about the company in the UK, Tall and Mighty, being a retailer, I think this needs to be a private label retailer, and that it could be an e-commerce version of that. That's fine. But I think my main problem with this is that if you're going to have to go and convince all these stores like Bergdorf and Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus to carry your line, that is what every designer is trying to do, and it's a very competitive market. It's a tough market to crack into.
But then you can start off in boutiques, how you know, quite a few smaller labels do, and then expand out once the awareness is up, no?
Yes, except that those, you know, the boutiques need to be positioned for something, you know, something like this. And what she's saying is that it's difficult for her to put a full collection together because it's expensive to manufacture a full collection. It's expensive. But what you were saying earlier about, you know, having something for a specific, you know, it's a niche, right? Obviously, this category of women who are looking for help. There is a limited amount of what they would appreciate in the high-end, in the bridge category or designer category available for them. So I think if you can find that audience and start designing to their needs and manufacturing to, you know, even your idea of manufacturing to order, something like that may be okay as a strategy, because you're going to have to mitigate the chicken and egg problem of angel investors don't invest in these kinds of things. Very rarely do they invest in these kinds of things. So until you can prove that this is working to a decent degree, you're going to have to bootstrap. And one way to bootstrap, Kim is right, is to do perhaps gather maybe 1,000 women in this category and then just understand that market and their needs and design to their needs. And that could be an interesting business because women in the high end spend a good, $10,000 a year on clothing. And if your audience is really having a hard time finding clothing in the right style and quality level, so if you take 1,000 customers, $10,000 a year, that's a very decent sized business.
I'm just wondering also, we have Topshop here in the UK. It's one of our kind of high street fashion brands. I don't know whether you have it in America or not, but they have a tool range. So they actually have a tool section within their stores. So they have tool sections, petite sections. I mean, that could be a route in, possibly.
Yeah. All right, so I think we understand what you're doing. We're done with all the presentations. I'm going to hand you over to Maureen for the next 7 minutes while the judges go off and huddle. So judges, please come to Skype and let's talk.
Hi, this is Maureen Kelly. So I'm going to play a video of Sramana. It talks about democratization, entrepreneurship education. If you want to click on the tab in the upper right corner of the slides window, you'll be able to view the video. And I'm going to turn it on play.
One of the missions of 1 Million by 1 Million is to democratize.
Sramana, the video's over.
All right, we're back. Sorry, we just needed a few more minutes to get all the input from the judges. So we're ready to announce. So the judges have decided that we like both the social, hybrid matchmaking applications we saw today, and we saw two of them. One is Locus and the other is Jubila, with two different contexts. However, in both cases, there is question marks around your go-to-market strategies and the segmentation, positioning, all sorts of things, which we would work with you on, and hopefully we can find the, more interesting and more viable strategy. And nonetheless, I think we definitely would like to award 2 scholarships today to Locus and Jubila. And then the other unambiguous choice was CloudMarks. Everybody liked CloudMarks. There's an issue with the go-to-market strategy and the revenue model. However, in terms of the business itself and the idea itself, everybody liked it. So those are our 3 winners then today: CloudMarks, Jubila, and Locus. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you, judges, for your contributions to those decisions.
Can I just say, sorry, on behalf of Charlie and I, we were very, very impressed with the high level of the pitches today, so we'd like to thank everyone very much for taking part. If you've got any further questions, then please do, get connected with us on LinkedIn, or, Sramana or Maureen have all our details, so more than welcome to. But thank you very, very much.
Super. I was just about to offer you to say something.
Okay. Sorry, Sramana, I jumped the gun there.
No problem. Perfect. So, Jetil, how about you? Would you like to add something to that?
Yes, absolutely. I think we saw some great ideas today. We saw some passionate entrepreneurs, and I hope you all will succeed with your business ideas and take this into market. I think you all have good potentials out there. So just good luck. And think of Elance when you need talent. Thank you.
By the way, you're also getting Elance credits as part of the prize. You're getting 100 Elance credits to start your Elance accounts with. And by the way, I also very much liked the fact that many teams presented. You kind of split your presentations in teams, so we got a sense of, how the team flows and works together. That was all very cool. All right, very quickly, what's happening next? You're going to, the winners, you're going to hear from Maureen with your account activation information, the 1M1M scholarship account activation information, so you can get started. And the next roundtables coming up are, there are 2 more this month. We have 2 Colorado roundtables, one in Denver, Colorado, and the second one in Boulder, Colorado, June 21st and June 28th. And then we have a regular 131st 1M1M Roundtable on July 5th. Then we have a Western Massachusetts session, Click Workspace, and then July 26th is our ANN Media Elance contest, back with our team of judges from the 2 companies, and in collaboration with King's College. So that's July 26th. And we look forward to seeing you at one or more of these sessions. That's pretty much it from us today. If anybody has any quick question or comment, please feel free to use the public chat. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up very soon.
Oh, just one other thing, sorry. In terms of the winners, Sramana, as we discussed, Dan, Charlie and I are very keen to find out how everyone progresses. So we would like, you know, a relationship in terms of through you, Sramana, to take place, if that makes sense.
And what
Kim of course, you can communicate that in more detail.
Yep. What Kim is talking about, folks, is that one of the reasons ANN Media is doing this exercise is to find companies, interesting companies, that can be strategically interesting as partnerships for ANN Media, could be revenue sharing partnerships. ANN Media has a huge audience of 130 million consumers, so if you have a company that is trying to access a large consumer audience and it's synergistic with ANN Media strategy, then we would very much be interested in connecting those dots and bringing you to market through that channel. ANN Media has the largest audience of female consumers in the world, actually. So very interesting go-to-market opportunities for lots of entrepreneurs, and you will continue to hear from this effort, this initiative, as we go along. We are, this is our first few events. We did Tech Hub in London, and then last week we did Imperial College. Today we're doing London School of Economics. We have King's College coming up, and you'll hear a lot more from this group. And Elance, you've heard from quite a lot with us lately. We also did the Blue Snap Elance contest recently, and now Elance is participating in the ANN Media series as well. We're definitely seeing some very interesting presentations around the world. As you saw today, we not only had presenters from England, we also had presenters from the rest of Europe, as well as a presenter from the US. So it's, as you know, 1M1M is a global effort, and we will continue to work with entrepreneurs to help you, to support you, and we will hope that you will make your 1 million mark as soon as possible. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and we will see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.